People are genuinely becoming more and more retarded as days goes on. And I don't really like to use that word unless I really have to, or if it's just a funny time, to say that kind of a word. But my gosh, I mean, the retardedness of the population is insane. We live in a world where people will just watch you just because they want to project the way that they feel that you're supposed to be onto you, and then they'll get upset with you when you don't match up with their projection. And it's like, well, I never saw it as my responsibility to uphold the image that you have of me for you. Like, it's not my responsibility to do that. And people will watch you because they want this energy that you have. They want the zest. They want that playful ecstasy that you emit from your being. And they want, like, and when I say ecstasy, I don't mean like hyper arousal necessarily. I just mean this playful joy of life, this childlike quality of life. And people are just getting stranger, they're getting stranger. But at the same time, I'm very, very, not necessarily optimistic, but I just trust that it's all working out. It's just, man, it might have to get worse a little bit before it gets a little bit better. And even that, it's like, worse according to whom? Because worse according to me, according to you, according to somebody else. I mean, to some people, it's getting better. And I would say it is getting better all the time. Things are getting better all the time. Absolutely. And I would prefer to have that narrative structure being projected into the symbolic narrative field, which is that neutral field of energy, because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But I would rather be propelling myself into that symbolic narrative field with a narrative structure that is filled with justice and truth and beauty. I mean, these are pillars of loveliness that is timeless in of itself. Now, beauty, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. Like, sometimes, yes, it depends on certain things, but for the most part, you can look at something and you'll know if it's beautiful. Like, have you ever seen those memes where it's like, we traded this for this? And one of those memes is, we traded this, and it's like this beautiful suburb with green trees and green grass and everywhere. And then the next thing is, all of the trees are cut down. There's no grass. It's all fake grass and rocks, and just it looks dry, like just dry. Whereas with the greenness, it was moist. It was lively. It was full of beauty and radiance. And I don't know, it's like, even ever since, like, now that I think about it, it's like ever since 2019, people just haven't been the same. They've just not been the same. And I don't think it's because I've grown necessarily, because of, like, of course I've grown, but it's not because of my growth that I see people in such a different way. Like, yes, that plays a factor for sure, but it's not the only factor, right? Like, when you grow, yes, your standards are going to be raised, and you're going to have people talking about you in certain rooms before you even enter the room. And now you have a reputation. Now, I don't really believe in reputations. The reason being is because I'm always transforming. I'm ever changing. So people do have, like, a certain proclivity to see me in certain ways, especially online. And I've noticed that, especially across different platforms, right? Like, what's so interesting with YouTube, for example, with YouTube, I have nearly 25,000 subs now, and I'm very grateful for that. And I don't see people as just numbers, but it's interesting how people will see the amount of subs that you have and treat you a certain way. Whereas, like on X, for example, on X right now, because I've only been active really for like, you know, a year, I have almost 1,000 subs or followers or whatever on X. But I've had way more interactions with DMs on X and Instagram especially, because in Instagram I don't really take Instagram too seriously. Like, and TikTok as well. I just started a TikTok like a couple months ago. Well, about not even a couple months. It was like a month ago. And I I don't like TikTok. It's not like I don't like, it's not that I don't like the format. It's just every time I go on there, I feel like I get a headache. Because it's like the consciousness that's there is just, it's too much, it's too much like dopamine hits. And whereas with YouTube, I can I can actually feel as though I'm having a conversation with you, because we are. We're having a conversation and I can engage more. People on YouTube seem to be more open-minded, whereas people on like X or Instagram or TikTok, they're constantly trying to like, ooh, I have something more to say, or I have this to say. Like they're just talking to talk. I have something to say because I have something to say and I want to talk. And yes, there's a business quality, an aspect to this, but it's also like I'm getting paid to monetize my own mind. Like that's what I am. Like I'm monetizing my own being, because even though, as Ram Dass's guru Maharaji says, money and truth have nothing to do with one another, it is simply the case that you can monetize your being in this earthly plane of consciousness. And we need money. I have no problem with money or living luxuriously. If you want to do that, that's great. Me personally, in the spirit of the time, I'm not participating in hyper luxuriousness. Now I'll take care of myself and I treat myself well. Like for example, something new that I did recently, which I've never really done this before, but I wrote myself a love letter from the eternal lover's perspective. And so I wrote myself a love letter from the perspective of the eternal lover. And that was a beautiful experience. And it was just very fulfilling, because we're always so used to like I was seeing myself as if I am, like, if I'm the eternal lover writing to me, right? Even though I know Thaddeus is a personality and it's not the soul, because I see we're all one soul experiencing different forms of that soul. It's like we're many different forms, but like one part, like one hand, right? We're many different forms of the hand, but like, yeah, you might be a finger, and maybe I'll be this finger. But you see the point, right? You see the point. It's that you know people and beings altogether, animals, trees, plants, they all have this form of consciousness, and how we see it is going to be determined by the presuppositions that we have going into the symbolic narrative field. So whatever narrative structure you're projecting into that symbolic narrative field is going to be determining the outcome of your life. So I would much rather have, the narrative structure that I am emitting a signal where I don't have to try to prove to people who I am. They'll just see the fruits of my results, and they'll see the fruits of my actions, and they'll say, okay, yes, that's a trusted participant of the world. Because people have asked me in the past, like, well, how do I get closer to God? Or how do I get closer to the soul of existence? Or like, how do I let go of any karma? Or how do I raise my kundalini? It's like, well, be a trusted participant. That's enough for a lifetime, man. Because you have to be doing so much all the time to be a trusted participant of life. And it can be very challenging, it can be very challenging to do this, but overall, it's not really a challenge. It's just part of the process. The only reason it's a challenge is because we still have a fleshly body. We still have a meat suit, right? So the thing is this is all part of godlike mastery, right? This is part of godlike mastery, and this is part of understanding what exactly it means to be practicing godlike mastery. Because godlike mastery, I'm not the educator, I'm not the master, I'm not the God necessarily. I am the God or one. And I am the soul of existence or one. But it's many parts. Like we're all playing a part together. We're all the body of Christ, you could say. Whatever term you want to use there. But yeah, I mean the whole social media thing, it's so interesting because I have quote unquote less followers in linear time on X than I do in YouTube, people will treat me in a certain way. Like, for example, something I said recently was, I don't really like living in a world where women, like, no matter what women do, it's perceived as empowering or challenging, or they're like in a victimhood, or, it's just amazing. Whereas with men, it's like no matter what we do, we're perceived to be not enough. We're perceived to be, too much. I mean, it's men are constantly critiqued. There's no true love. And then the comments and the DMs, I was just like all over this one comment, which didn't even get that many views technically on X, considering everything, right? But it was just like, my gosh, like the gaslighting was real. And there was all these women that were like, well, that's because you're online so much. It's like, no, it's not that actually. And you're proving my point. Like you're literally proving my point. Well, yeah, it's because of this. You're wrong. Because all right, well, thank you, Kevin Samuels, for the sign language thing. It's shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. That's all they do. That's like all they do collectively as women right now. Women, all they do collectively is sign language, like what Kevin Samuels talked about. They shame, insult, guilt trip, and they have this need to be right. And men, I'm not saying men are like any better. I'm just saying that like they're collectively, men and women are just, they're acting nuts, dude. People are nuts. People are crazy, and they expect us, who we have the energy that they want, and they expect us to just like, okay, well, we have enough energy for everybody, so I'll just, Humpty Dumpty down. That, no, I'm not gonna Humpty Dumpty my way down, like, to, no. Don't expect me to jump off, just jump off a cliff because you feel like it's necessary for me to do so. Okay, and I'm not Humpty Dumpty, but what I'm saying is like, I don't even know where the Humpty Dumpty aphorism came in from, but you see the point, right? And people are just, they're in a weird time. They'll watch you. They'll try to like make sure that you know like who you like. I don't know. It's just, they're very bizarre, and I'm just not a man of the people anymore. Like I mentioned this in a recent video recently. Just, I'm not a man of the people anymore. The only way that I've been able to learn anything from and really be the help, because I'm not trying to be the helper. I'm trying to just be the help within this world and the way that I'm contributing to society. Like, why do you even want to contribute anything to society? Why do you even want to contribute anything to these ungrateful a-holes? That's what most people are. And I'm not trying to be... This video is just kind of like me. I'm not ranting necessarily. I'm just really expressing the spirit of the moment, because I don't know, it's just a strange time. We just live in a strange time. And I don't always care to live in this world. And yet I know that that's part of the human process. Like, I know that that's part of it. Part of living in the world that we live in is understanding that this is just the way that it is. And to accept that is the way that you transcend it. So I know the process and I'm applying the process. It's just annoying. It's just annoying. And like, I've had people reach out to me recently about some weird things going on in their life and all of that. And it's just like, this life really does feel like the Truman Show a lot of the time. On my other channel, the Regal Shaman channel, I talked a little bit about this in an actual like full length video about the Truman Show, like why your life feels like a Truman Show. And it's because it's not because it actually is, of course, right? It's just that it feels as though the world doesn't respond well to people who actually want to live a life that they want. You know, everybody wants to be on the Matrix script, and they don't even realize they want to be on the Matrix script. You know, and that's why, like, this is where I was going with the social media thing. You know how there's a saying in like manosphere content and all that where they're talking about how, oh, you know, society hates broke men. Society doesn't do anything for broke men. That's kind of what it feels like what's happening with social media. It's like society hates people with no followers. You have to have followers. You have to have followers. And it's just promoting this egocentric thing. And ontologically and philosophically, I'm not quite sure where exactly it's heading, but I have a good idea, and I don't want to put it out into, I don't want to emit that signal into the symbolic narrative field just yet, but yeah, man, I mean, just these moments where you look at the world and you're just like, wow, what are we really coming to? Not like in a negative way, it's just like, wow, what are we doing? You know, what is there to do for these people? Because I want to be the help, but I don't want to force people into recognizing anything, and I don't want to make it seem like there's people that like need saving, right? And a lot of people who are religious will be like, oh, we need a savior. We need a savior. It's like, well, from what though? Like, what do you need saving from? And is that just a narrative that you're playing, or is it actually truth? Because that which is real is not always truthful. But that which is truthful will always be real. So, I'll leave you with that. Peace be with you. Be blessed. I want to thank everybody for purchasing my book, The Book of Oldishness, recently. I have it right here. This is one of the most fascinating things that I've ever had the privilege to work on in my life. And I'm very grateful that there's been so many people that are interested in it. I'm also very grateful for all of the people that are choosing to educate themselves properly with a variety of different types of perspectives in the Regal Academy right now. Like, we're really shifting into another gear there. And also, we're making songs now. Like, we have a group of people that are very creative in there. And so we have the opportunity to just kind of like, oh, here's a riff on like a song that I made. Oh yeah, here's some lyrics, here's this. So we're just being very creative. It's definitely like a digital sandbox as well. And I also am just very pleased that this is where we're going, you know. Like, I've reorganized my priorities, and still definitely when it comes to the Regal brand as a whole, because it is technically a brand, the Regal brand as a whole, of course, the Godlike Mastery is going to be my first priority, but it's going to be the Regal Academy next, because I want to ensure that the people who are investing in themselves have the best tools available for them to really transmute and have that free spiritedness to do it on their own time. The Godlike Mastery is not quite like that, because that's a a 3-month commitment process, but otherwise, there's just so many positive things happening, and I'm just pleased to be building so many awesome things. But I'm not attached to these things, like that's part of the desireless action, is building simply because it feels like that's what the soul of existence wants me to do, and that's what I want to do, so I'm going to do it. So with that being said, peace be with you. I trust that this message reached those that have eyes to see and ears to hear and are ready for the godlike mastery practice. And peace. Be blessed. Until next time.